Alright, so let's get into it. We open the episode with Mark doing strength and endurance training. They got my dog out here lifting ships out of the ocean, lifting continents, glaciers, and him lifting tectonic plates. And we jump to Cecil, and he's commenting on Mark's progress light. And it turns out that Mark's speed has increased 65%, his endurance 70%, and his strength 138%. They really got my dog on this Flintstones gummy regimen. And honestly, I don't even blame him, because if my name was Invincible and I was getting my ass beat in every other episode, I would want to train too. And let's be so for real, if Mark went up against another Viltrumite right now, he would still lose. His name might be Invincible, but that is the biggest lie this man's ever told. He gets washed in every single fight he's in. Mark, you're the only superhero I can actually name off the top of my head that you need a gun, and you need to learn how to fight. But anyway, we skip to my dog Rexplode, who just got fresh off getting shot in the back of the head and recovered like it was nothing, and he will be one of the best characters in this show, I will tell you that right now, and I'm not gonna spoil anything for the comics. However, Cecil gets word that someone is trying to steal the Declaration of Independence, and that is the most random thing I've ever heard someone trying to steal. Like, I didn't know Nick Cage was in this universe. Like, what the fuck do you want to do with the Declaration of Independence? So we jump over to Dropkick and Fight Master, who are putting in the work against these cops. And why are they beating up these cops so badly? You guys are super powered individuals. Why are you fighting these cops to the absolute best of your ability? Why? What are you crashing out so hard for, trying to steal the Declaration of Independence? But you know what? I'm starting to think these cops actually deserve it, because where the fuck are their guns? Why are you fighting supervillains with your fists? Like, what is this guy over here trying to do? He came up to this man with a punch. Are you trying to knock him out? And you know what? I can't even blame what happens to him after this. Just watch this next clip. This man gets his neck broken. You know what? A moment of silence for that man's family, because his wife is gonna go into the ER, and when he tells her what happened, he's gonna have to walk up to his wife and tell her, I tried to punch a supervillain for stealing the Declaration of Independence. That's got to be the most depressing ER visit I've ever heard in my life. But anyway, that's when Mark and Rexplode show up to the scene, and they confront Dropkick and Fight Master. And you know what? I gotta hand it to these guys. They are trying their absolute hardest, but my dog Rex and Mark got a little power up, and they are not even phased by this. They're mid-conversation, just toying with their food at this point. Mark is literally asking Rex about women and trying to get advice on how to ask Eve out. And I'll get back to you later, because my boy Mark fumbles extremely hard. But Rex is over here rushing Mark, saying, hey, can you hurry up? I already beat this dude. And oh nah, if I was fighting someone and this dude said, hey, can you hurry up? I'm getting bored. You won, buddy, you won. I'm not fighting you anymore. But you know what? I think what this dude does is even more embarrassing, because instead of trying or even running away, man punches with all his might and punches Mark in the chest, and it does nothing. Oh, no, you pack it up, big fella, pack it up. This is embarrassing. You're not built for this, because it's one thing to lose to a superhero who's known for getting his ass beat in almost every single fight he's in, but if you're going to lose to that superhero mid-conversation and he says you're trash, you're nothing, you need to give up being a supervillain. You need to go work at McDonald's or something, because this is clearly not the profession for you, my guy. But the next thing you know, Multi-Paul comes in trying to get revenge for Duplicate, and you know what? I'm sure you're all gonna be wondering who that is. Multi-Paul is basically Duplicate's brother, and he's looking for revenge because he believes that Rex caused Duplicate's death. And you know what? I'm not even gonna lie, at this point, I really wish Mark would stop trying to reason with every single person who tries to fight them, because you are not him, Mark. You are not. Now get ready for a lot of blurred screen, because I cannot show any of this, because Mark rips off one of the heads of the duplicates and then splits the other one in half, and that is all I can show, because this is way too graphic. But just know that there was a lot of blood, a lot of graphic shit, and a whole lot of body parts flying. And as it comes as a surprise to no one, Duplicate is alive, because as it turns out, she just had another clone waiting and watching. And Rex asks the most logical question out of everyone there: why didn't she tell anyone? And everyone, I want you to sit here and watch what she says, because she has the most brain dead idiotic response, because that is her business. And oh my god, here this motherfucker, the the immortal go. Man,
Shut your stupid.
I swear, guy, every time this fucker opens his mouth, I want Mark to decapitate him so fucking badly. When has this man ever won a fight? If I'm ever getting robbed and the immortal shows up, I'm running in the direction of the robber. However, along with Duplicate being alive, Ray is also alive, so the whole team of mid superheroes is finally back together. And look at this motherfucker talking about, oh man, we're all together, no one can beat us now. Like, so slow down there, big fella. You guys have not won a single fight. You guys are the most mid superhero team ever. Like, you guys lose to C tier villains. Let's cool it down, alright? But you know what, none of this mid stuff is important right now because we're gonna get to the good stuff now. So Mark is with his friends and he's basically talking about how he was with future Adam Eve, and Adam Eve told him that she always had feelings for him. So now he's in a little predicament. Does he sell the bag or does he secure the bag? Spoiler alert, he fumbles. He fumbles extremely hard. Now, we all know that Mark likes Adam Eve. That has been obvious since episode 1 of season 1. But explain to me why this dickhead Mark decided it was a good idea to tell Eve about what future Adam Eve told him. So he pulls up on Adam Eve, and you know what, spoiler alert, this man just, he fucks it up. He fucks it up so hard, and this fumble is generational. How do you fumble this hard? This is like fumbling on a game when you're still in the tutorial mode. But you know, that's when we meet Oliver, and you know what, I'm not really a fan of the sibling characters, but honestly, if Omniman can see his other son, he would disown Mark. Because tell me why this little demon is already got his powers and is already planning devious activities. You can't tell me that this child hasn't already planned 6 murders in his head. You know when you look at someone and you could just tell, oh yeah, they would kill someone. That's him. This is Oliver. But speaking of all that, Cecil did not waste no time. The second Oliver got his DMs, he was waiting like a simp in an OnlyFans model's DMs. He was ready. He was shaking his hand and all. But Debbie was not having none of it. Okay, so I'm just gonna fast forward through all of this. Basically, Mark finds out that Cecil has been engineering humanoid robots filled with the deceased bodies of people, and he basically gave Timu Batman a job, even though this man is supposed to be doing time locked away. So Mark is understandably very upset about this, so he goes to confront Cecil. So if you remember in season 1, Sinclair had kidnapped Mark's friend and tried to make him into a humanoid cyborg, and Mark basically cooked him. And now Mark is pissed because this man now has a job working for Cecil. And Mark was basically not letting up on Cecil. He said he wants them back in jail immediately, and Cecil looked at Mark, says, okay, bet. And at this point, I have lost all sympathy and faith in Cecil. If you defend Cecil at this point, we're watching different shows. So Cecil and Mark walk into this white room, and then Cecil surrounds Mark with a bunch of the cyborgs that Sinclair made. And Cecil tries to check Mark. He says, basically, Mark, I rock with you, you're cool, and I appreciate everything you're doing, but my job is to protect this planet. And if that means I have to protect it from you, then I'll do it. And Mark doesn't even have time to respond before he starts being attacked. And Mark is basically like, you better tell these fuckers to unhand me right now. Oh, so this is how it's gonna be, huh? So Mark is basically piecing up every single one of these cyborgs one by one. And when he's finished, he looks at Cecil and says, oh, is that all you got? And Mark, whenever someone says, is that it? You know it's never it. And you know what? I can't even lie. This is kind of tough. This is some aura points for Cecil. Can't even lie. Listen, Cecil, I always knew you was a bitch, nigga, but I didn't know you were a full-on traitor. Hey, man, this has got to be done. You either gonna fall in line or I'm gonna have to put you down. I'm not the one that's about to get put down. I thought you didn't make threats, Mark. I guess things change. As you can see, in this season, Mark is a completely different demon. This man is making threats. He's on his training arc, and he's trying to bag Adam Eve. You know what? If Mark didn't take so many L's in the last season, I wouldn't have so much problem with him. And right as Mark is about to fight this entire army, Cecil pulls out this device and Mark collapses. And it's at this point where I lose all sympathy for Cecil. So basically, after Mark's fight with Nolan, Cecil put this chip inside of his brain that will send electromagnetic frequency into his brain and disrupt his flight balance, make him incapable of flight and fighting, which is basically the weakness to all Viltrumites. So Mark does the only thing he can do and flies out of there, but it's kind of hard to do that when you got fucking Sexy Red blasting in your ear. So Mark lands in the Guardians headquarters and begs Rudy to take this thing out, but Cecil beats him there. And this is where we see the first rift in the Guardians of the Globe. And this is right here is why I'm saying this team is trash, because instead of siding with Mark, this little bitch immortal decides to be a good little cuck and sides with Cecil. But the second this man gets into any sort of fight, he always gets washed. He didn't even say anything when it was time to fight. But you know what, I will hand it to Mark. The second Rudy blocked that frequency, he went off. I swear we are gonna have to do a side-by-side comparison on the scene between Nolan versus the Guardians and Mark versus the androids, because Mark is truly his daddy's son. This man is doing omniman combos and doing things you would not even see in Mortal Kombat. And when it's all done, Cecil starts talking real crazy, but Mark wasn't having none of that. He grabs Cecil by the neck, pinning him against the wall, and starts talking crazy. We are done. If you ever come near my family again, I will kill you. And you know what? It was at this point Cecil remembered that he's really just a normal human on a team with superhumans, because Cecil really be talking crazy to these people and any one of them can beat him in a fight. Although I'm not convinced the immortal could beat him. Moral of the story, don't piss off Mark Grayson. And if you do take an L, at least don't fumble a baddie. Anyway, that's gonna do it for me. Yeah, I'm out. Peace. Stay tuned for episode 2.